Here's a map revealing Brazil, a diverse and enchanting country situated in the heart of South America. Brazil is the largest country in both South America and Latin America, covering a substantial portion of the continent. Positioned in the heart of South America, Brazil shares borders with 10 countries, highlighting its strategic location in the region. Brazil boasts a population of over 213 million people. Its history, woven over centuries, reflects a vibrant tapestry of cultures and historical events. When we think of Brazil, images of the iconic Amazon rainforest, lively carnival celebrations, rhythmic samba beats, and stunning landscapes immediately come to mind. Yet, this nation encompasses vast, unexplored lands, teeming with incredible and astonishing scientific discoveries that continue to amaze researchers even now. Many of these discoveries are so amazing that if they were not talked about, no one would believe them. So, in this video, we will unveil 15 recently made discoveries that scientists found in Brazil, which have completely surprised the world. Number 15. Massive sinkholes swallowing a city in Brazil. Let's dive into a situation happening in northeastern Brazil. Imagine a city, Buriticupu, facing something straight out of a disaster movie. This place is dealing with huge sinkholes popping up everywhere, like giant mouths in the earth, just eating up parts of the city because of some serious environmental issues. These aren't your average potholes. We're talking about massive pits, over 230 feet deep, tearing through neighborhoods. There are 26 of these giants so far, stretching out to more than half a mile in total. What's behind all this? A lot of it comes down to cutting down way too many trees and not really planning how the city grows. The Amazon rainforest is like the Earth's umbrella, soaking up rainwater. But when those trees get chopped down, the ground can't hold water the way it should, leading to these huge sinkholes. This year, some really heavy storms have made everything worse, pushing officials to declare a state of emergency as homes are being gobbled up. Over the past decade, over 50 homes have disappeared, and 7 people have died because of these sinkholes. The sad part is, the real problems, like losing 41% of the tree cover since 2000 and the city spreading out into nature, haven't been stopped. Experts are warning that if things don't change, Buriticupu could be in real danger of being totally swallowed up in the next 30-40 years. It's like nature is fighting back against the damage done by people, and if we don't figure out a way to stop it, the city's 73,000 people could be in serious trouble. And with more trees being cut down every year, this could start happening to other towns in Brazil too. Number 14. Pacu fish with weirdly human-like teeth. Lurking in the murky depths of the Amazon, an unusual creature bears an unsettling grin. Meet the pacu fish, South America's bizarre contribution to the aquatic world. With a rounded body like its piranha cousins, the pacu seems rather ordinary, until you catch a glimpse of its teeth. These freshwater oddballs rock a mouthful of human-like molars and incisors. No, your eyes aren't deceiving you. The pacu's freakishly squared chompers are very real evolutionary adaptations for munching vegetation rather than flesh. Their unnerving dentures crush nuts, seeds, and plants with ease. While quite the planetary peculiarity, these fish have sparked urban legends about attacking, well, let's just say they've earned nicknames like ball cutter. However, tall tales aside, scientists confirm pacus are herbivores, posing no threat to humans beyond inducing nightmares with that ghastly grin. Although when freed from aquariums into foreign waters, their invasive impact is far more chilling for local ecosystems. So next time you visit an aquarium's Amazon exhibit, steal a peek at this toothy critter, if you dare. Number 13. World's most powerful electric eel discovered in Amazon. For a long time, scientists believed that there was just one species of electric eel. However, after studying more than 100 electric eels from the Amazon basin of South America, scientists discovered that there are actually 3 species, one of which is capable of producing the greatest shock ever recorded in a living creature. The electric eel's shock can induce intense pain, muscle spasms, and even paralysis in larger creatures, including humans. Encounters with these electrifying predators demand caution and reverence for their deadly capabilities. Scientists analyzed 107 eels from Guyana, French Guiana, Brazil, and Suriname, examining their body structure, bone architecture, and DNA to construct a family tree. The data revealed 3 distinct genetic groups with unique geographic distributions. The species that is most northerly is Electrophorus electricus, which is primarily found in Guyana and Suriname. Electrophorus varii is found across the lowland Amazon basin, primarily in northern Brazil, and Electrophorus voltae is found in South Brazil. In order to test the intensity of the eel's shocks, the scientists put them in inflatable swimming pools. It was discovered that one of the new species, E. voltae, named for the battery inventor, Alessandro Volta, is capable of shocks up to 860 volts, which is significantly more than the previous maximum of 650 volts. To put things in perspective, a taser can deliver approximately 1200 volts, whereas putting a fork in a socket might jolt your body with between 120 and 240 volts. Yet, beyond their fearsome reputation lies a creature intricately woven into the fabric of the Amazon ecosystem. Electric eels play a crucial role in regulating prey populations and maintaining the delicate balance of life in the rainforest's aquatic realm. Number 12. Horrific rituals practiced in ancient Brazil. Among the horrifying rituals the ancient Brazilians performed on their dead were cannibalism and the removal of muscles and teeth from the body. The earliest evidence that people execute these rites on dead bodies is now being found by experts on the continent. These skulls were found in Lapa do Santo, a Lagoa Center cave that dates back between 10,300 and 10,600 years and was utilized as a burial place. The decapitated head and jaw were found by anthropologists in a cavity near the cave's entrance. They had been completely buried because they, together with the first 6 vertebrae and the 2 amputated hands, were encased in slabs of limestone. The skull stood out from the other bones found in the cave, suggesting that these prehistoric people had more advanced burial customs than previously thought. With the left hand pointing upward on the right side of the face and the right hand pointing down on the left, the hands had been removed from the rest of the body and put palm down over the face. Analysis of Garcia's severed head supports the statement made by Dr. Domingo Carlos Salazar, another researcher involved in the experiment at the Max Planck Institute for Evolutionary Anthropology, that Garcia's decapitation does not appear to have been a violent act. The young man was one of the humans living in the cave, not a vanquished enemy. There was a belief that the deliberate arrangement of the hands and skulls suggested the disembodied mint was performed as a part of a ceremony or ritual. The skull has minor scars from incisions, which indicates that the soft tissue around it was also cut before it was buried. Scholars don't go into great detail about why people started participating in these horrible practices. In contrast, some Brazilian tribes celebrated their dead by eating them, a custom known as endocannibalism. They felt it solidified a lasting bond with their kind. By cannibalism, defecation, teeth extraction, and mutilation, they would first reduce the body. After that, they would follow stringent guidelines for another burial. Number 11. Drunk Brazil dad crashes plane with child piloting. Soaring through the clouds in a small private plane, the steady engine hum should have created a peaceful, wonder-filled experience for 42-year-old Brazilian researcher Garon Maia and his 11-year-old son Francisco. But then, the crisp crack of a beer bottle opening shattered the tranquility. In a deeply disturbing video, Maia can be seen gulping down an alcoholic drink as young Francisco grips the controls. The gut-wrenching footage shows the father allowing, even instructing, his son on how to pilot their small Beechcraft plane by adjusting levers and dials meant for trained pilots only. While the timing of this video remains uncertain, authorities believe it was likely recorded in the hours before the July 29th crash that tragically took the lives of both father and son. Their twin-engine plane went down in a forested area near Campo Grande, over 600 miles from their origin point at a family farm. Maia had made a refueling stop in Vilhena before their final fatal flight with Francisco at the controls. As horrific as this sounds, the fallout extends even further. Consumed by unimaginable grief, Maia's wife took her own life just days after their funeral. So how could any father have encouraged such reckless behavior that orphaned his own child? Some argue Maia simply wanted to share his passion for flying. But at what cost? While the affable researchers' intentions remain unclear, one thing is certain: this harrowing incident underscores the grave consequences of irresponsible actions at 30,000 feet. When a joyride turns into a tragedy, no family walks away unscathed. The skies demanded the ultimate price for a father's poor judgment. Number 10. Very rare dinosaur species discovered in Brazil. In a groundbreaking discovery that has captivated the scientific community, paleontologists in Brazil have unearthed the remains of a previously unknown dinosaur species, shedding new light on the ancient world. A stretch of land in the southern Brazilian state of Paraná is now known as the Pterosaurs Cemetery, after hundreds of fossilized pterosaur bones were discovered in the ancient basin. When paleontologists working there discovered a new fossil creature with a horny parrot-like beak, they initially thought it was another flying reptile. Instead, researchers were surprised to discover a completely new species of toothless dinosaur. Even odd, the species belonged to a group known as Ceratosaurians, practically all of which were carnivores. This extraordinary find, named Berthosaura leopoldinae, represents a rare glimpse into the prehistoric past. However, what sets Berthosaura leopoldinae apart is its remarkable lack of teeth, sporting instead a beak-like mouth, a feature that has baffled researchers and sparked intense speculation about its dietary habits. However, this does not necessarily imply that it did not eat meat. Many birds, including falcons and buzzards, devour meat with their beaks. Most likely, it was an omnivore surviving in a hostile environment, forced to eat anything it could find. Number 9. Brazil's venomous lionfish problem. In the warm waters surrounding Brazil, a striking yet perilous invader is wreaking havoc on the marine ecosystem: the lionfish. Despite its captivating appearance, this fish has become a significant threat to coastlines and marine life globally. Scientists are now urging people to confront this invasive species armed with a frying pan, knife, and fork. The lionfish's journey to these waters is as remarkable as its impact. First sighted in the Caribbean in the 1980s, these fish from the Indo-Pacific's tropical waters traveled thousands of miles from their native habitat. The lionfish's real danger is its voracious appetite. It can eat up to 90% of its body weight every day, rapidly depleting local fish populations. Its camouflage and slow, stealthy approach make it an effective predator, preying on over 100 species while disrupting local fishing communities. What's more concerning is that the invasion can be traced back to a few careless aquarium owners who introduced lionfish into Brazilian waters. These invaders have thrived due to their tolerance for varying salinity levels, infiltrating freshwater systems, such as the Amazon. Despite the daunting challenge of eradicating them, scientists are fighting back by promoting lionfish as a delicious culinary option. But it is important that people very carefully remove the spines before cooking the fish to avoid coming in contact with the venom. The demand for lionfish in the international market could help restore marine balance. Conservation groups organize removal efforts, encouraging divers and fishermen to hunt lionfish. Some divers even feed them to sharks, spreading the word that these invaders are a delectable treat. However, the true extent of the lionfish population remains unknown, as they can inhabit depths of up to 300 meters. The key to combating this environmental disaster is to turn lionfish into a popular food source while simultaneously preventing overfishing of other species. It's a step toward a healthier, happier ocean. If you can't beat it, eat it. Number 8. Brazil's mystery tunnels made by giant sloths. A Brazilian farmer made a fascinating discovery in 2009 about a paleontological mystery that continues to this day. He found a tunnel that was roughly 15 meters long, 2 meters high, and ran directly beneath the farmer's house in the field. The walls exhibited deep claw scratches, suggesting that the previous tenant was not human. One of the scientists that visited the farmer's property, Luiz Carlos Weinschutz, a geologist, believed that the megafauna paleoburrow he had seen was a prehistoric tunnel carved through rock, perhaps made by a big ground sloth or giant armadillo that lived at least 10,000 years ago. These enormous ground sloths were very different from the lazy, tree-dwelling ones of today. They could reach a length of 4 meters and moved on all fours, Yet studies indicate that some of them were able to stand and walk on 2 feet. From 15 million to 10,000 years ago, the Americas were home to around 100 different species of sloths and enormous armadillos, the size of cars that also carved out lengthy tunnels through the rocks in Brazil. For an extended period, both locals and academics thought the tunnels were built by earlier societies, and they thought the claw markings were from a pickaxe. In the end, it was the claw marks that helped scientists conclude that these tunnels were made by megafauna, in particular ground sloths and giant armadillos. Experts believe that the armadillos and sloths lived in social family groups, with each tunnel having been formed over hundreds or possibly thousands of years. Each generation did a little more, so after all those years, they created one big cave. According to Weinschutz, the megafauna, which included the huge armadillos and giant sloths, developed an absurd strength in their arms to be able to cut through hard sediments and rock that would be difficult for a pickaxe to penetrate. Even though these enormous creatures of the past are long gone, their legends will always be remembered in the southern part of Brazil. Number 7. Brazil's terrifying dengue fever crisis. Picture this. You're lounging by the pool, an ice-cold beverage in hand, soaking up the Brazilian summer sun. Suddenly, the peaceful moment is shattered by a tiny, whining intruder, the dreaded Aedes aegypti mosquito. This insidious insect may be small, but its bite is delivering a punch to Brazil in the form of a surging dengue fever outbreak, an outbreak so severe it has multiple states declaring emergencies. In just the first 8 weeks of 2024, over 1 million Brazilians were infected with dengue, nearly 5 times higher than the same period last year. With that kind of surge, it's no wonder 8 of Brazil's 27 states have declared public health emergencies. But what exactly is dengue fever? It's a nasty viral infection causing high fever, severe headaches, muscle joint pain, and nausea. While most recover within a week, some cases turn severe, requiring hospitalization. And there's no specific treatment, just supportive care. Here's the real kicker though. Dengue can't spread person to person. It's only transmitted through bites from infected female Aedes mosquitoes. So if you can control the mosquito population, you can control the outbreak. That's easier said than done in tropical Brazil's prime mosquito breeding conditions. But authorities aren't taking this outbreak lightly. They're pulling out all the stops with an innovative biotech solution. Scientists have developed a way to release genetically modified male mosquitoes that produce no viable offspring with wild mates. In targeted areas, this could decimate local Aedes populations by 90%. While concerns remain about unintended impacts, Brazil is betting on this cutting-edge technique to regain control. Because when killer mosquitoes are ruining summertime fun, it's time to fight back with genetic weaponry. Number 6. Devastating drought reveals ancient rock carvings in Brazil. As drought grips parts of the Amazon, receding rivers unveil astonishing ancient rock engravings in Brazil. Along the riverbanks near the confluence of the Rio Negro and Solimões rivers in Ponta das Lajes, human faces emerge from the recently exposed terrain. Jaime de Santana Oliveira, an archaeologist from Brazil's National Historic and Artistic Heritage Institute, IFAN, suggests these carvings likely date back to prehistoric or pre-colonial times. While their exact age remains elusive, estimates place them between 1,000 and 2,000 years old, based on evidence of human activity in the area. Some rocks bear grooves believed to be utilized for sharpening tools like arrows or spears. At one site, researchers identified 25 clusters of such carvings, alongside fragments of ceramics. These carvings have resurfaced during previous droughts, notably in 2010. However, the current drought surpasses previous events, now revealing a greater abundance and diversity of carvings and offering researchers unprecedented insights into their origins. Attributed to the El Niño weather pattern and climate change-induced warming in the North Atlantic, the Amazon experiences its most severe drought in over a century. The Rio Negro's water level dropped to 13.59 meters, 44.6 feet, a historic low recorded since 1902, exacerbating concerns for the region's future. Residents, like Manaus local Livia Ribeiro, marvel at the engraving's beauty, but also worry about the river's sustainability for future generations. Villages along the river suffer from dwindling drinking water access, and the drought disrupts waterway traffic and hydroelectric operations. Beatriz Carneiro, a historian and IFAN member, underscores the importance of restoring normal water levels for both the archaeological site and local communities, emphasizing the preservation of Brazil's cultural and environmental heritage. Number 5. Record-breaking amounts of illegal shark fins seized in Brazil. In a stunning enforcement operation last June, Brazilian federal authorities intercepted nearly 63,300 pounds, or 28,700 kilograms, of illicit shark fins, marking one of the largest such confiscations globally. The gruesome practice of shark finning, involving the barbaric removal of a live shark's fin before discarding the helpless creature back into the ocean, continues to haunt marine conservationists. Shark finning is akin to severing limbs and leaving the animal to bleed out, laments Rebecca Rennery, Deputy Director of Wildlife at Humane Society International. These fins, fetching exorbitant prices of up to $591 per kilogram on the black market, primarily find their way to Asian countries where they are coveted for shark fin soup or revered in traditional Chinese medicine. Despite Brazil's stringent prohibitions on shark fishing, illicit activities persist in select regions, posing a grave threat to these apex predators. Sharks, despite their feared reputation, fall victim to human activity at an alarming rate, with an estimated 100 million falling prey annually. Among them are species at risk like the great hammerhead and scalloped hammerhead, targeted solely for their fins. IBAMA officials estimate that over 10,000 sharks, mostly blue sharks, Prionis glauca, and shortfin marcos, Isurus oxyrhynchus, were murdered in order to accumulate the fins found in the most recent bust. The shortfin marco shark is classified as endangered. As authorities strive to combat these destructive fishing practices, the hope remains that stringent enforcement efforts will safeguard the delicate balance of our oceans, preserving these magnificent creatures for generations to come. Number 4. Brazil's pumpkin toadlets are extremely bad jumpers. Everything seems possible when the pumpkin toadlet jumps into the air. The little frog can easily propel itself many centimeters above the ground. It is roughly the size of a honeybee and the color of a cloudberry. But something goes wrong when the pumpkin toadlet starts to take off. The frog's body begins to rotate, its limbs spread out like a starfish. With their arms raised, they plummet to the ground, bouncing like a beach ball, and instead of landing gracefully on their forelimbs, they land on their butt, tummy, back, head, or straight on the face. It's a depressing sight to see the little frog struggling like this. The pumpkin toadlet, which is a frog and not a toad, is so bad at landing its jumps that scientists are now studying its blatant ineptitude. They think that, because the miniaturized toadlets are so small, the fluid-filled chambers in their inner ears, which regulate their balance, are unable to function very well, condemning the brave little jumpers to a lifetime of hard landings. Pumpkin toadlets live elusive lives. The frogs live and forage under fallen leaves in Brazil's Atlantic forest, which, compounded with their size, make them exceedingly difficult to study. Being a vertebrate the size of a bee is not an easy task. To be this little pumpkin toadlets have had to make evolutionary compromises, such going from 5 to 3 digits on their legs. At the same time, being small can, however, sometimes be advantageous. An ant is a huge meal to a pumpkin toadlet, according to Essner. The lesson from the pumpkin toadlet might be that not everything needs to be optimized. You shouldn't give up on something just because you're lousy at it, especially if you have poisonous glands and a secret bony knapsack. Number 3. Brazil's weird manaconda. A peculiar creature found in the Amazon is said by some to resemble a portion of the male anatomy. While Brazil has some amazing wildlife, this snake-like animal is on the more repulsive end of the natural range. The Atratoxana icelti is a sleek creature that is well known for looking, well, kind of like you-know-what. This repulsive serpent, which has a nasty appearance, inhabits the waterways of the Amazon. Though it appears to be a sly serpent, the reptile-like creature is actually an amphibian, not a reptile. After the horrifying animal was first spotted in 1968 in the waters of the Amazon, no more reports of sightings were deemed believable until a whole family of them was found in 2012. These so-called penis snakes, which may grow to be over a meter long, are unknown, but this remarkable discovery has brought them into the scientific limelight. The phallic amphibians of these girthy giants are quite rare, and our knowledge of them is limited. Even so, specialists are aware that the blind amphibians inhabit the swiftly flowing Amazon River. Though no proof has yet been discovered, there is also conjecture that it breathes through its skin instead of having lungs. Ever since its discovery, it has been seen consuming small fish and worms. The unusual organism has been derisively called the manaconda due to its remarkable similarity to the genital organ. Unlike the many deadly types of spiders found across Brazil, this water animal is completely safe and shouldn't worry anyone who chances to come across one. Number 2. Terrifying plastic rocks discovered on remote Brazilian island. The volcanic island of Trindade, located approximately 1,140 kilometers from Espírito Santo, Brazil, is facing a disturbing phenomenon: the presence of plastic waste-derived pebbles, posing threats to both the island's geological integrity and its vital turtle habitat. Researchers have discovered melted plastic combined with rocks on the island, indicating a concerning human impact on the Earth's geological processes. Fernanda Avelar Santos, a geologist at the Federal University of Paraná, expressed alarm, stating that pollution has now encroached upon the realm of geology. Chemical tests conducted by Santos's team revealed that these plastic-infused rocks, termed plastiglomerates, are primarily composed of fishing gear, a prevalent form of waste along the coast of Trindade Island's beaches. This gear, carried by sea currents and deposited on the beach, melts under the sun and fuses with organic beach materials. Trindade Island holds significant importance as a green turtle conservation site, attracting thousands of turtles annually for nesting. Santos emphasized that the discovery raises questions about humanity's impact on the planet, particularly in the context of the Anthropocene, a proposed geological age marked by human activities profoundly altering the Earth's climate and environment. Plastic waste inadvertently entering the water, marine pollution, and sea-based waste are now transforming into geological materials, perpetuating their presence in the Earth's records. It is impossible to determine what consequences for the turtles in the region and the environment we can expect, but these plastic rocks are an unusual and worrying discovery. We should hope that we find solutions for these problems soon. Number 1. 33-foot monster snake found in Brazil. On a building site in Brazil, the biggest anaconda ever discovered was found. Even though they don't have any poison, anacondas are incredibly deadly snakes. Typically, anacondas reach a length of 20 feet and a weight of hundreds of pounds. Usually they murder large game like deer and occasionally jaguars. Their attack strategy is devastating even though it isn't very original. They are called constrictors and are members of the boa family. These creatures typically lurk beneath the water's surface, the tops of their heads projecting. They charge rapidly in the direction of possible prey. When they see the snake approaching, it will seize them with their mouths and begin looping around them. After the prey have ceased all attempts at escape, the snake will continue to constrict strongly until the victim is dead. Constriction is harmful on numerous levels, culminating in organ failure or strangulation in the prey. Because it devours its prey whole, the anaconda is difficult to avoid in either situation. This 33-foot-long, 3-foot-wide snake was found in Brazil, weighing about 800 pounds. Unfortunately, when they found the snake, it was either already dead or had been killed by construction workers when it came out. Either way, the biggest known anaconda died because of human activity. This indicates that the reported size of the anaconda could not be independently verified by any independent organization through accurate measurement or documentation. Even though there is a video of the snake, recordings could be altered without the right citations or supporting documentation, and the point of view could be misinterpreted. There have been several reports of supposedly record-breaking anacondas, according to one report. The biggest snake they found was over 500 pounds in weight, 27.7 feet long, and had a circumference of 3 feet. And recently they found another giant anaconda, which measured 26 feet long and weighed 440 pounds, was found by a TV crew doing underwater recordings looking for snakes. It's likely that no measurements or observations have ever been made of the real largest anaconda, and we are excited if or when the next biggest will be found. Tell us in the comments below what discovery you found the most interesting.